Okay. Okay. I think I am live now. People can see me. And oh, you know what? Let me change one thing here. Let me change one thing. What is the teleprompter showing? There we go. There we go. Yeah, man, I had a nice fun stream last night. And where's my music? Need the music. I had a really nice fun stream last night. And I got my camera issue solved. I'm going back. I went back to the Sony, which does look better. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, last night I had to switch to a $200 webcam, which was surprisingly good. That was the YOLO Live or YOLO Live S3. Um, but because I was having a problem with my Sony, and I changed back this morning because I figured out what the problem was. I was plugging in this Sony to a different port, and for some reason it just couldn't handle it. I don't know why. It's supposed to be able to, but I fixed the problem. So things are looking. They're I have to say I'm not really happy with the way it looks right now. I think people liked the color from last night, so I'm gonna just try tweaking the saturation and tint a little bit to match a little bit of what we saw last night. Let's see. Maybe I need a little more. I can't directly control contrast. I think this is probably closer to what you saw last night. So hopefully it is. Okay, so what brought me on stream today? I had a really nice little sleep, and a video came up in my feed today about drawing tablets from a channel I don't normally watch. And I've seen this guy a couple of times pop up in my feed. I have watched some of his videos. But this one that he posted 3 days ago, I just saw it this morning, literally not 30 minutes ago. It had the word drawing tablets in its title. And you know me, if someone talks about drawing tablets, I'm really interested. So I watched the video, and I wanted to react to it. So I've already watched it, but I'm going to react to it with you. So we'll watch the entire thing live. It's not long. I think it's just, I don't know, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, something. But it's a fascinating one. It's a fascinating one. And as always, one of the things I've discovered is we are not the people who are artists, right? We're not the only people that use drawing tablets. There are other, and this video sort of draws that out quite a bit. And we're going to take a look at a couple of interesting things. Number one, the use of drawing tablets if you're doing photo editing, meaning Photoshop, right? And is it meaningfully interesting in that case? And by it, I mean just the entire notion of using a drawing tablet. We're going to look at Wacom specifically, and Intuos Pro specifically. Like, are those specifically, is it interesting to use a Wacom or an Intuos Pro? And why would you do that? And we're going to look at reasons why you might use a drawing tablet, even if you're not doing artistic things. So the video is fascinating. And remember, I don't do a lot of photo editing. I don't live in Photoshop. I pay Adobe $700 a year for Creative Cloud. Not because I want to spend $700 a year on Creative Cloud, but it's an expectation that I will test a tablet with Photoshop or need to troubleshoot something. And there's an expectation, I think, if you are in this field, you're going to have familiarity at some level with Photoshop and Adobe products. So it's kind of a tax, I guess. And I'm more than happy to pay it. Though I will say last night I did some icon design in Affinity. And I have to tell you, that's the first time I've actually used Affinity to do something real. It's the icon for the Open Tablet Artist. And I was really happy. Here's the compliment I will pay to Affinity. It just worked. It just worked. And I didn't feel weird about using it, meaning it didn't feel like it was a hard to pick up. Everything was intuitive. I'm sure there could have been improvements, I guess. I can't even think of them offhand, but I was really happy. So there's score 1 for Affinity, right? Oh, let's see. We have Kauga, people using pen tablets for video editing too. Really? Oh, I didn't even know that, Kauga. Let's see. James Chasing Sunrise. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, glad you joined us. That means I'm extra happy. Sometimes I do streams at random times, and so we catch up with people we haven't seen in a while. Because last night was a late stream. I think I started at 7. Or not super late, but for the East Coasters, it was 10 p.m. Last time I do photo editing is when I had the subject at school. I am always doing, for my documents website on drawing tablets, I take a lot of photos. So I do a lot of my photo editing is so basic. Like I take a photo and I use the Adobe Remove tool to remove dust. That's it. That's all I do. Or I remove, sometimes there'll be an extra cable on the desk. I'll just have it remove that cable because I just want a clean photo. Now, some would say I shouldn't remove the dust off the tablet, but I hate taking a picture of a product and, my fingerprints are making it dirty, or the dust from my house is making it look unclean, right? So I do clean them up a little bit. Let's see. In terms of ergonomics and pressure, comfort for long hours of editing, pen tablet. Yeah, we're going to talk about that topic specifically about ergonomics because that's a nuanced topic that sometimes is and he'll actually touch upon that as well. I will expand upon it. So that's what's amazing about this video, which I'm going to bring up in just a second, is that we're going to take a look and we'll pause. And I wanted to do this live because I wanted your feedback as well. What I'm really going to do is we're going to have a great discussion about this. We may even react to some other videos. And then I will actually try to create a pre-recorded video that I'll publish on the channel where it'll take all our thinking and put it there. Okay, there's got some comments in the Discord. Funny, Spicy says, funny how pen tablets are often used outside artist circles. Indeed. Oh, and I didn't tell people I'm live. So let me do that. I forgot about that. 1 second. Where is my channel content? Let me put this. I love talking about tablets. I love talking about tech for creative stuff. Not just tablets. Let's see, where's my live stream link here? Okay, I'll let them know on the Discord that I am streaming live and on camera now. You'd laugh if you see how many screens are in front of me. There's a teleprompter, 4 monitors, 1 pen display, and the iPad. So there's 7 different screens looking at me. So it's a little overwhelming. Okay, first of all, what is the video I'm talking about? So let me find it. And before I continue, I just want to say, you shouldn't take my reaction to the video as any implied criticism. I love the video that I'm going to react to. It's intriguing. The only thing I'm doing is maybe emphasizing the messages and clarifying a few points. Because I know a little bit about drawing tablets, okay? Let's take a look. Okay, let me put it in chat for you too. Okay, the link to the video is in the YouTube chat, the live stream chat. There we go. Okay, and let me take a look at the Discord comments. Oh, did he, Spicy? Spicy says he mixed up the 2017 and 2025 Intuos Pro and assumed they cost $350. The other thing I'm going to do is, so this guy's name is Andy Hutchinson. And there's going to be we're going to discuss his channel a little bit. I have seen it before, but whenever I try, often, not whenever, but often, I try to make sure that if I'm showing a channel, a video from somebody, that you know who that person is and what they're about, so that you're getting a fuller picture of their channel. I don't need to do that for like Brad and Tio. You already know them very well. But for someone that we don't normally cover, I think it's useful for the audience to see who these people are, what they do, etc., etc. Okay? Because you may become fans of their channel as well. Okay, and then Spicy says, funny. Oh, that's all right. That Gen 2 is highlighting a comment. Okay, let me get a sip of my coffee. And this guy's got a nice little setup. Okay, so I sent the link. Let me change what's on my teleprompter here. Okay, there we go. So let's close some tabs here. And so actually, let's take, this guy's name's Andy Hutchinson. And I just realized you cannot see what I'm showing you. So, oh, I need to make one more change. I've got to get, I'm just setting up my Stream Deck so that can quickly switch to, there we go. Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, that didn't do what I think it was. I didn't do what I was doing. Why didn't it do what I think it was supposed to be doing? I'm not sure. We'll figure this out. Okay. Let me add. What do I need? An overlay. Camera is, yes, Lumia Art. Camera is back. It was just a cabling problem. And thank you for joining the stream, by the way. Okay, how do I add a? Okay, almost there. I'm gonna do a little bit. This Mac Studio I have, which is the first Mac Studio, it's an M1 Max Mac Studio. It is, oh, come on, man. Let's see, I think it's secondary. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it is now showing the right thing. Now we have to do one more thing, which is, can you hear him when he talks? Right, oops, let me put my face a little bit up, bring to front here. There we go. And let's just test the audio to make sure you can actually hear what is going on.
I'm back about
Can you hear
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, you can hear it. And I'll turn off, in this mode, I'll turn off my sound effects, so you're not bothered by that. I love the sound effect music, the background music. Okay, so this is Andy Hutchinson. Let's just go to his channel. And 30,000 subscribers. And let's just take a look what kind of videos he makes. Okay. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I share my passion for photography, drone flying, and creative storytelling, from landscape to aerial photography using Fujifilm X-T4 and Mavic 2 Pro to practical tips, software reviews, and reflections on life in the South Coast. NSW. What does that mean? NSW. Does anyone... Sorry, I'm not good at these kind of... I'm not very international. So let's... someone, can you tell me what NSW means? If my videos are about sharing knowledge, inspiration, whether you're a photographer, tech enthusiast, or just curious. Okay. So it's very similar. I would describe my channel somewhat similarly. So he's talking about Wacom tablets, cameras, Lightroom, photography in general. Darktable, I don't know what that is exactly. I'm looking especially to see if anything related to like other videos on tablets. Let's just take a quick look here. Oh, maybe it's in Australia, NSW, whatever that means. Maybe that's someplace in Australia. Originally I thought it said NSFW, not safe for work. Raw editing. Okay, so very focused more on photography, I would say, just in general. Okay. which makes the video make sense, actually. Okay, so I think you'll be able to hear him. So, okay, so what is the title? Photography YouTubers were all using Wacom tablets. Then they weren't. Then they weren't. Okay, so we're intrigued by the statement for sure. Okay, and let me check the Discord chat. Okay, we're good. New South Wales. Let's take a look at this. I'm not familiar with Australia. New South Wales. Where is this place? Oh, okay. This is yeah, I'm familiar with this country, Australia. Sydney is there. Is that and is New Zealand? I always forget New Zealand is this. I shouldn't say little island, but okay, it's a little island. Huh. Is there a rivalry between New Zealanders and Australians? Are they friendly to each other? I hope they are. I have a friend. I mentioned her on the channel. She's so funny. She's from South Africa, and she, her, most people in the United States have not heard someone from South Africa, have not heard someone from South Africa speak, and so people always just say, "Oh, are you Australian?" to her. She got that so often that she simply started saying yes. She just because she got tired of explaining, "No, I'm from South Africa." But yeah, she's pretending to be an Australian. So Chelsea, I told another story about you. Okay, New South Wales. Australia was on my mind recently. I watched maybe a movie or something. Was Sam Neill Australian or New Zealander? Okay, let's take. Huge fan of Sam Neill. Very sad he passed away, by the way. But Koiga, yeah, you were right. New South Wales. Was he? His name was Sir Nigel John Dermot Sam. Oh, he was a New Zealand actor. I didn't know that. I always thought he was Australian. Great actor, by the way. A couple of years ago, I saw him in a movie called Death. I don't know why my friend suggested this. Death in Brunswick. It's interesting because I'm so used to him in, of course, Jurassic Park and In the Mouth of Madness, which I think is a John Carpenter film. And what's the other one? Event Horizon. And to see him in this kind of weird comedy it was just very unusual. But I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. I'll have to rewatch that. Death in Brunswick. Anyway, that's my. Okay, back to Andy Hutchinson. So let's start. Hi, Saul. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
6 years.
Okay.
Cast your
So I love this guy's video, by the way. This is like so nice. Before I continue, I love his setup. This actually, let me make his thing a little bit bigger, so you can see more. I'll be on the right side of this. Okay, yeah, you can see it. Okay, and let's begin.
Cast your mind back about 5 or 6 years. We've just been through a deeply unpleasant period of global upheaval, and we're emerging once more, blinking into the bright light like people who just spent 2 years panic buying bog paper. And on YouTube, the platform on which many of us found solace and companionship during said unpleasant period of global upheaval.
First of all, I just love his background, and the lamp, and especially this sign that says bollocks. It just says bollocks. Hashtag bollocks. And then he's got these little signs. I assume he made them just for this video, which just says taking the tablets. So already I'm liking this video. And was it Saul says, the classic Mac with the glowing apple. Where do you see? Oh yeah, I forgot about the glowing part on this one, Saul. I totally forgot those used to glow. Okay.
It seemed like every other photographer was using the bloody Wacom tablet. And then, one by one, they just weren't. Where did all the tablets go? Welcome along to the channel, friends. My name is Andy Hutchinson, and I'm a Gen X British/Australian tech journalist from back in the day and a lifelong camera and photography nerd. Like all of my videos, this one is sponsor and affiliate free and made possible only by my long-suffering wife and these legends in my Patreon and Substack communities. Links in the description if you'd like to support independent, shill-free content that's heavy on sarcasm.
I love what you just said there. If you want to support independent, shill-free content. I love that.
Medium rare on descriptive language and light on manufactured enthusiasm. For a while,
That's awesome. He says that. There's nothing as sort of disheartening to me when I feel like someone is manufacturing enthusiasm. Okay. I don't expect people to, I think it's good if people keep a cheerful tone, but when something starts becoming a bit inauthentic, I think it does come off badly.
about 5 or 6 years ago, tablets such as those made by
Actually, what was
Wacom
the title
were
again?
definitely for a while, about 5 or 6 years ago, tablets
Okay,
such as
myself.
those made for a while,
Where did all the tablets go? Keep taking the tablets. Interesting title.
about 5 or 6 years ago, tablets such as those made by Wacom were definitely a thing.
Look at this. Trigger warning. I don't care how you pronounce. He says Wacom. Okay, so he's hopefully he's not expecting us to get triggered.
On photography YouTube. It started with a few glowing endorsements by big-name photography influencers such as Thomas Heaton, but between about 2016 and 2021, videos recommending a Wacom Intuos or Intuos Pro started popping up everywhere. Landscape photographers and photo influencers like Anthony Morganti, Julia Trotti, Aaron Nace, Glyn Jewis, Greg Benz, Ed Gregory, and Blake Rudis all either promoted pen tablets or used one during demonstration edits.
So I don't know any of those people, but I assume from his statements they're probably well known on YouTube for talking about photography.
And I'm sure there were many others who hopped on the bandwagon about that time. In many cases, these weren't promotional videos either. Many of them purchased the tablets with their own money, and the videos were sponsored, as usual, by Squarespace and not Wacom. And while Wacom undoubtedly did send out some tablets, I don't think it's simply a question of dodgy influencer funding causing a trend. It was a proper case of trend-driven gear acquisition syndrome.
Okay, two things. Number one, gear acquisition syndrome is a real thing. I mean, if you play guitar, if you're familiar with that world of people who play guitar, guitar acquisition syndrome, I guess you could call it. It's a real thing. I mean, and I say this as someone who has 130 tablets, right? Now, why I have 130 is I think slightly different. I do it for bizarre reasons. It's not just that I believe I'll draw, but it definitely is not because I believe I will draw better with a newer tablet. I more do it out of the need for research and a little bit of nostalgia. Okay. But gear acquisition syndrome is a real thing. On our tablet Discord, of course, we tend to have people have multiple tablets. The other thing I just noticed is, in his background, this is, he's got a smiley face, but it's got a blood stain on it. A little, you see this red thing? Which means he's probably familiar with the Alan Moore graphic novel Watchmen, which is, I think this is a reference to, FYI. Okay, is it just people stop using the Wacom thing, or people are actually stop using pen tablets altogether? That is a good question. That is a good question. Let's see, Lumiere. I'm definitely going to use that guitar pedal. So yeah, exactly, exactly. I think this gear acquisition syndrome also happens in sports. If you start playing a sport that uses a lot of equipment, especially newbies will tend to just like buy the highest end thing when it's totally not necessary, right? Um, he mentioned something a second ago about. He said it actually at least twice so far in his video about around the time of the the demic, the demic, right? Everyone still avoids saying the full word, so I'm not sure if I should say the full word pan and then demic. But I guess YouTube punishes videos if you say the word. But I noticed at that time. So his question was, why were people? I mean, I think the question that rises from what he says is, why were suddenly people making Wacom videos or tablet videos in the time frame? My recollection in my little world of YouTube was that I saw a lot of content creators literally locked at home, stuck there, and they were looking for content to create. And a lot of schlock content got created in that time. I'm not going to name any specific names, but people were doing things like. So let's just suppose they had a channel on, I don't know, quantum mechanics, right? They'd be like, oh, their next video in that time would be something like, I studied quantum mechanics eating only Skittles for the entire week, right? I mean, it was just creating content to create content. I saw a lot of that. I wonder if that is related to the influx of videos about tablets, because I could imagine you're again kind of stuck at home and you want to keep your channel alive. So you've got your Wacom tablet next to you, like, oh, let me make a video about that. And I love doing that, right? Every time I get a tablet, I make a video. But I think that may have also been a thing that contributed to these kind of videos, right? People just creating content to keep their channel alive. Let's see. Kouga says, I have like 5 tablets. Gas is definitely real. Yes, yes. In our community, we tend to see a lot of people just start acquiring tablets that they definitely don't need. It's one of those, I don't need it, but I must have. Yeah, totally. Listen, here's another one. The Intuos 4 XL PTK 1240. I have 5 of those. Right? And these are tablets that are, I think you can see it. They're like this big. And these are pen tablets. They don't even have a screen. But they're as big as like, I don't know, a 27-inch monitor in terms of physical size. So, sometimes I just want to collect them. I don't know why I decided to get 5 of them. I feel like I thought, I don't know, the Earth was gonna run out of oil and Intuos 4 XL tablets, so I had to preserve as many as I could in a sanctuary, and that's why I ended up with 5 of them. Okay, sorry, we're just chatting. Let's get back to the video. Okay.
Question is, why is nobody, apart from Piximperfect, using much
By the way, I love Piximperfect's channel. Check it out. Piximperfect.
less talking about tablets anymore? I did a bit of digging, and interestingly, the numbers suggest this wasn't just my imagination. Looking at their financials, Wacom itself enjoyed a huge pandemic era boom around 2020 and 2021, but momentum did not last.
Yeah, this is good. I have covered Wacom's yearly or results, their financial results. And so, yeah, we definitely saw this. So he is not exaggerating. This is what happened. Wacom has 3 business lines. So you have to realize this is actually 3 different businesses of Wacom's put together. And I think I'll name the businesses for you. One is called their branded business. One is their tech solutions business. And one, I actually can't remember the other one. or licensing business. Licensing is the thing they license their, I guess, their patents out to other companies, presumably Samsung. Uh, the licensing and the technology, I think they create some tech, right? I think one of those, maybe the licensing one, maybe the tech one, maybe both together, that's like 60% of the profit. So, but yeah, they definitely saw a huge increase during the pandemic. They talked about this extensively in their yearly financial meeting. Their CEO Nobu Ide talked about it quite a bit. And then, yeah, definitely we saw this collapse. Now, this is of course operating profit, and there's other things that go into profit. And yes, we saw actually a kind of steady recovery. I think Koyo or someone's had the latest. They forwarded us the latest ones, and they have basically they're back now. Where they go now is still up for debate. And I haven't looked closely at what is driving the recovery, right, or what changes they make. But I believe it is led by a bunch of releases they had, right? So they had a ton of releases in 2023, 2024, and 25. The Cintiq Pros launched, the new Wacom ones, which I don't like, but they did launch. The Intuos Pro 2025 launched. The Moving Pad Pro and Moving Pad launched. Very successful products. People love those. So that, I believe, is driving most of this recovery, but I don't know if there are other reasons, because again, that by definition is part of their branded business. If I look at this graph, I'd love to know what happened to the other two businesses, right? Or was this all driven by the branded business? Don't know. Don't know. Let's see. Pluzzing says, I think I watched this video before. It only came out 3 days ago, but you might have watched it. Let's see. Koga says, to be fair, the Wacom isn't like way better than everyone else to justify the higher prices. Then there is the part where their patents expired and Chinese companies suddenly catching up. Yeah, I wish I will search. I haven't searched before for Huion and XP Pen if they publish some information like this. We'll check a look. But let's thank him for doing this, because on this channel, on my channel, I try to look at the data, either by measuring things with my digital scale or collecting information from the pen, or by looking at published information. So I commend anyone who's going to go look at the data and show us the data. Okay, so let's thank him for that. And since I am familiar with the charts, he didn't just copy this from he didn't just copy and paste the chart. He has rebuilt this chart, okay, out of their annual reports. So he put some real effort into it, and we should recognize that. Okay, let's continue.
Revenue continued climbing for a couple more years, but its branded tablet business went into decline, and the company increasingly relied on selling its pen technology to other manufacturers rather than photographers and artists buying Intuos tablets.
No, I didn't realize he'd actually covered this. So yeah, there's another one, which is, I forgot what their third business is. Maybe it's lumped into OEM pen technology for his chart. But you can see what's going on here. So branded means anything they sell with the word Wacom on it. Okay. Now, these are relatives. These are relative to 100%. So we don't, you'd have to take this into account with the other graph, which is the total amount, right? So I would love also to know the division between Samsung, Lenovo, and other manufacturers that are in this green OEM pen technology section, right? Would love to know that. So the branded business, this matches also something I was told by someone who more closely watches the financials of Wacom, that a surprising amount of their money is made from not the branded tablets, right? And I think it makes sense, right? And it's probably a good thing that they're not highly dependent on their branded business.
Manufacturers rather than photographers and artists buying Intuos tablets. It's not proof that photographers have abandoned them, but it's certainly a bit of a smoking gun. But my theory, I think
I wouldn't call it a smoking gun, but it is suggestive of a few things.
Photographers just realised they're bollocks for editing photos. I think, as photographers, we're
I'm scared to look up what the word bollocks means because I feel like that could get me into problems. But we'll try after the stream. Where did all the tablets go? They're a solution looking for a problem. Interesting title.
Naturally inclined to try and find better ways of doing things, whether that's through a technique or through gear. And on the face of it, tablets seem like a great option for photographers because they force us to edit in a more traditional or artistic way. Instead of stiffly swiping a mouse across a desk, we can elegantly waft a pen around. You get both smoothness and accuracy. Admittedly, the ability to write with a pen is probably on its way out, but most of us can still write, basically, and some of us can even paint
I
and draw.
You know what? I wasn't really sure what he meant there. Let me just refine that. It's a little bit unusual, the statement.
The ability to write with a pen is probably on its way out, but most of us can still write, basically.
Okay, I think he's not talking about Wacom tablets there. I just think he's literally talking about the human ability to use a pen. He may be alluding to the fact that penmanship is at an all-time low. People don't really write. They don't even write at all, really. They barely even read. And people are just using computers to do everything, and AI now. So I think he's talking there about the general concept of using a pen, not specifically pen tablets and drawing tablets. So I just wanted to make that distinction.
As some of us can even paint and draw. But the gap between pen and mouse is overstated.
Is it overstated? That's a very intriguing statement. Let's see. Oh, we have some new comments here. Kawuga says they did partner with Samsung S Pens. Yeah, that's right. They use UD-EMR. Or you might see it labeled Wacom Feel technology. Mir, hey, good to see you. Good to see you. As always, thanks for joining us. Okay, yeah, that's an intriguing statement.
The computer map between pen and mouse is overstated. The computer mouse has been around for over half a century now, and we're all so used to them that they're almost like an extension of our arms.
I would point out that using a stylus has been with us for several thousand years. So, yes, not a lit. Well, actually, you know what? I'll even go further than that. Yes, people have used a mouse, but the stylus thing goes back way longer than you might believe. The Romans, and maybe I can't say for the Greeks exactly. I don't know. I'm talking ancient Romans, so 2,000 years ago, maybe even during the Roman maybe Republic, maybe. They had tablets, which were two pieces of wood that had wax on them. Here, let me put my face up here so you can see it. Okay. Oops. Okay. It was like literally two pieces of wood joined by these two cords, so it could fold, right? And there was wax on each one, and there was a little stylus. I don't actually have the stylus with me. Oh, I'll use this thing, the stylus, this little hex wrench thing. And you would scrape into the wax, and so you would mark that way. And I think everyone used that to write. And the best thing is, since it's wax and will melt a little bit, I guess you could just press down and erase it with your own hands. So the point I'm raising here is that the case that mice are have been used for a long time is true, but we actually have a lot of experience with pens. In fact, if you watch some of the early computer graphics research that came out of Xerox PARC, it is not the case that pens I can't say one predated the other in terms of computers, but they were around, like in the 60s, both of them. They were the mouse was invented, I believe, by Xerox PARC, Palo Alto Research Center, and at the same time, so was the pen was applied there too. So they technologically we've used them for a long time. Definitely, the mouse is more used, obviously. But let's just take a look at the comments. Lumiart. I can personally work on a pen tablet for 8+ hours, no problem. With my mouse, my hand gets tired fast. I do maybe have some uncomfortable small mouses. Good point. Multiple things going on there. We'll take a look at that. Lumiart. Thank you. Okay, let's get back to this guy. Let me go backwards a little bit and then.
All so used to them that they're almost like an extension of our arms.
I think that's true for pens as well. That they become an extension of your arm. Maybe even more so with the pen, to be quite honest.
We've built up muscle memory over many years and can move them accurately and precisely. Switching to a tablet requires building an entirely new spatial skill set and associated muscle memory.
Couple of things going on here. I think it is. He said that a mouse is precise. Let's find the actual words he says. You know what? I'm actually going to turn on the closed captions because that'll help us recall what is actually being said here. Muscle memory over many years and can move them accurately
and precisely.
Precisely. So the word accuracy and precisely can, depends on how you use the words. If you use them in a scientific sense, they mean very specific things. I think it is, I don't know how to say this. I got to think about how to formulate this. Mice, compared to a drawing tablet pen, could be considered more accurate and more precise in some ways, but definitely less accurate and less precise in other ways. Okay? A great example of this is, so let's take with precision, right? Precision, I guess you would say, let me translate into a number that'll be more sensible. How many different points in a area can it resolve? So the resolution of a Wacom tablet is like 5,080 points per inch, so 200 points per millimeter. Mice can't do that. As far as I know, mice, the way they report their movements, we really end up with just screen coordinates, meaning pixels, right? Which are way bigger than the resolution of an EMR drawing tablet, okay? But if it could be smaller, but I don't think mice have like 5,080 lines per inch. I don't think that's correct at all. So in that sense, definitely a pen is more precise. Now, what does the word accurately mean? Accurately could be interpreted to mean all sorts of things. If it means that you can put the pointer in a specific place, I could see why some people might think that. I could see why some people would say a pen is more accurate. Now, one thing that a mouse is honestly better at than a pen is holding position. So, with a pen, when I say hold position, which is keep the pointer in a certain space and certain pixel without it moving around and without clicking. That's really hard to do with a pen because that means you have to hover the pen. And you're hovering with a pen, it's hard to keep it in that pixel. It is difficult. With the mouse, what you do is you move it to the pixel and then you let go and it will just stay there forever, right? So in that sense, it's very accurate. If you're thinking about pixels, I would say a mouse is in that sense more accurate. Does that make sense? Koga says, repetitive mouse clicks can cause tendonitis. Pens probably don't give you that in long. We're going to talk about that. I think the case is not black and white. I think okay, let me just summarize it real quick. Pens don't fix all ergonomic problems, but they might help. And we'll talk more about that later. Because he does bring it up in detail later. Konto, hey, good to see you. Vertical mice make a ton of difference for long-term. Oh, I have not used vertical mice. I have not used one. I'm very curious about it. Mir says, do you think Canvas 22 Gen 3 is a great value compared to 19 since 22 has one? Yeah, I'm going to test the diagonal wobble again today, Mir. Just to confirm, because sometimes, I don't think I took a measurement. I think I did it live on stream. I don't think I actually did my normal measurement test and stored my record of it. But to answer your question, I do think the Canvas 22 Gen 3 is a great value. Absolutely, I do. Let's see. The mouse I had from the Intuos 3 was interesting. It behaved more like a pen, not that I use it. So that's another point, is that which I don't know if Andy realizes that Wacom tablets used to have mice, right? They had EMR mice. I haven't, to be honest, I used to just throw those mice away. They work differently than the mice you're used to in the sense that they are wireless, they don't need charging, they don't need a battery. They're really just a pen in a mouse body. You know what? That's a good idea for another stream to talk about these Wacom mice. So technologically, Wacom can give you either a pen experience and a mouse experience. Okay? Most people just did never use the mouse. I know some people did, but I think it's a very rare thing. Konto, it's really good to see. It's been a while, so I'm very happy you were able to catch us today. Okay, so we're just taking this almost, we're just parsing this video line by line.
Switching to a tablet requires building an entirely new spatial skill set and associated muscle memory.
His comment is, I think, true, but you have to segment this because we have pen. Let's take the three cases. There are really just two cases. Tablets with screens, which is like an iPad, Samsung Galaxy Tab S, those are standalone, and the non-standalone, which are pen displays. Then you have the other side, you have pen tablets, screenless tablets. Things with displays where you draw on the screen are much more natural for people. They sort of just understand what's going to happen. I don't think you need a new spatial skill set for those. For a pen tablet, you do need a different skill set, okay? And you do have to configure your tablet to use force proportions. That's also another thing. Many people, for whatever reason, even they say the following. They say that they find it difficult to move the pointer on their monitor, but their hand is down here on the desk. So there's a disconnect. The funny thing is, that's exactly how a mouse works. The pointer is moving up here on your monitor, but your hand is down here. So the same person can say, oh, I feel a disconnect with the pen, but not the mouse, which is weird. I don't mean to say they're wrong. It's just, it's interesting to me that they think of those differently about how their brain works, right? You would think it would make much more sense for the pen. Just intuitively, you might believe that, but they do, I think, overall find the mouse more intuitive. But I think they've been trained to. Remember, not everyone knew how the mouse worked. Like videos about computers when mice started appearing, 90s, maybe earlier, they had to tell you what the mouse was and what to do with it. There were no expectations about how it worked, okay? Let's see, Saul says, it's important to remind yourself to rest in order to avoid RSIs. I went through that over 20 years ago, and boy, was it painful. We will definitely talk about that later. Opinion on PlayStation's decision, is physical copies being completely removed a bad thing in today's era? Also, PS5 emulation is making good progress. Maybe I'll cover more of that toward the end. I think I'm not sure, Mir. I'm not sure what to think about the PS5 thing. Let's talk about it after I get through Andy's video.
Yes, there are some painterly techniques in post-processing. Dodge and burn, for example. But photographs ain't paintings, and dodging and burning a landscape doesn't require the same motor skills as painting a bloody watercolor.
I would agree with that. When you're doing like natural media painting with a tablet, you need different things, and you don't need a lot of the things that a drawing tablet's giving you. Okay, and there are many facets to this which we'll talk about.
All you have to do is zoom in and get whatever level of accuracy you prefer. Combine that with features such as the auto mask edge detection built into apps like Adobe Lightroom, and you don't even need to be accurate. The other problem is that while some apps, most notably Adobe's and Capture One, had strong tablet support, others, such as DxO, did not. And so you might find you get reduced functionality. And then there's the cost of the original investment. Decent tablets, such as those produced by the market leader Wacom, are not cheap. The Intuos Pro, that tablet you'll have seen in many a photography YouTube video, costs about $350 US.
So here is showing the new Intuos Pro 2025 edition. And yeah, they are expensive. Even the small one is $250. So this raises another question, which is very important. Like, there's the topic of using pen tablets for photography, for photo editing. And then there's the subtopic of using Wacom Intuos Pro, the highest and most expensive tablets for it. It is slightly unfair to lump in all tablet use with Intuos Pro, and he's not doing that, by the way. So we should just segment that apart, keep that separate, right? The cost issue, because it's highly variable by the brand. As you know, XP Pen and Huion offer tablets that cost, just roughly speaking, about half as much as a Wacom tablet. On top of that, you don't need some of these features, right? You can buy the lower end Wacoms, you can buy smaller tablets, and we'll talk about the different levers we have there. Let's see, Mad Max 70. Hello all. Hey, good to see you, Mad Max. Thanks for joining us.
Are you really going to spend that amount of cash on the purchase of a product you know full well you might not get on with, when you can buy an extremely precise Logitech MX Master mouse for a third of the price and use it for literally everything? Now, I've watched a heap of these videos of photography YouTubers using a tablet during their editing process. I watched a ton of them back when they were in vogue, and I've revisited them to research this video. And what I noticed, watching these folks flex their Wacom credentials, is that using a tablet instead of a mouse is a bit like the withdrawal method. It usually makes no difference to the eventual outcome. And that's because they're just using the pen like a mouse. All that pressure sensitivity, all those brush dynamics, and are still dragging sliders left and right like everybody else. And if all you're doing is moving sliders, then I would...
So first of all, this is true. Some people just use their pen like a mouse. That is neither a good nor bad thing. Okay? It is an acceptable use for a drawing tablet. The only thing that really affects is how much you need to spend on your drawing tablet. Okay? Because you may not need a fancy one if all you're really doing is using it like a mouse. Okay? And we'll talk about the implication of that later in the video.
Strongly argue that it's a bloody sight easier using a smooth wrist movement with a mouse than it is to drag a pen point from left to right while your hand hovers over a tablet.
There's a statement in there which I think is interesting when he said smooth mouse movement. Mice move differently from pens, and if you pay close attention to at least the many mice that I've encountered, you can argue that they actually do not move smoothly at all, right? If you are, for example, there's a, I don't know, how can I say this? I'm not really into like the physics of moving things, but here's how I put it. A mouse has an amount of friction on the surface of the desk, and you have to overcome that friction to start moving it. And that itself means that there's like a little bit like an excess force laterally on the mouse. So the mouse will tend to shoot off a little bit as you start. And I think I would not call that smooth. It is a little jerky at the beginning. That's highly unusual compared to a pen, which is basically as smooth as you want it all the time. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's smoother with a mouse. I think it's actually slightly more erratic with a mouse, to be completely honest. I'm not saying that has a bad impact. I'm just saying I wouldn't necessarily say a mouse is always smoother. Mir says, I think using a mouse is better for pixel art compared to using a tablet. Yeah, and what we're going to see is there are some compelling cases to use a mouse, even if you have a drawing tablet. Trust me, I have a lot of drawing tablets. I have 130. I will tell you all the reasons I use a mouse at the same time. Oh, and one more thing. For 10 years, I didn't use a mouse. I just used a drawing tablet. I completely used a drawing tablet. I can tell you what that's like, too. Mir says, I used my Gaomon S620 as a mouse for 2 years. And oh, so you had a lot of experience as well. I had fun scrolling, taking precise screenshots, highlighting text. Yeah, you'd be surprised how well you can use a drawing tablet as a mouse. There are a few weirdnesses, but I did it for 10 years. In fact, I don't know how to show this to you. I don't have one. When I used to, so this is at work, by the way, and let me put my face here. Okay. So at work, actually, let me go get a pen. I'll be right back. It'll make more sense that way. Okay, I'm back. So for 10 years, here's what I was doing, okay? And I'm trying to, okay. So I'm using it like a mouse, right? And I wanted to keep my pen with me all the time so I didn't lose it. So here's what I did. I would keep my pen like, it takes me a while to remember how I did this. Yeah, this is it. You see my hand right here? Right? Maybe it was this way. Let me gotta figure out. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So you draw like this, right? Everyone can see that? You draw like that, roughly speaking. So I would, if I had to type, what would I do? I'm gonna bring my keyboard here for a second, just so you can see this happen. So if I'm typing, I wouldn't let go of the pen. I would just keep, I think all of you sort of do this as well. I would just keep the pen like this in my hand and I would type with the pen. I mean, I wasn't using the pen to type. I'm just saying, I would hold the pen this way, out of, sort of just out of the way of my fingers so I can type. And I did this for 10 years, right? And when I needed to draw or move the mouse pointer, I just flip it like that and do it. I found that very convenient. I didn't even have to move my hand away from, to find the mouse. I always had the pointer right in front of me. So that's how I did it. Let's see. The mouse shooting off a little bit is caused by mouse acceleration. So I think, okay, so there's two, I'm glad you mentioned that, Mir. I think there are two things going on. There's the initial friction you have to overcome, which causes a little bit of, maybe overshoot's not the right word that I shouldn't have used, but it causes a little bit of like excessive force to begin. And then on top of it, you have mouse acceleration, which is an operating system feature. Lumia Art says, finding the right mouse pad is tough. Yes, I rarely used a mouse pad. I never liked the softness of the mouse pad, honestly. I use my laptop's cover as a mouse pad, Mir says. And it works well. Okay, interesting. Leather ones get sticky and cloth ones have a rough feel on skin. Yeah, it always bothered me to touch them. I got used to kind of one-hand typing because of the pen. I guess it's like with one finger. Okay. Let's get back to the video.
The other thing I noticed, left to right while your hand hovers over a tablet. The other thing I noticed, watching all those videos, is how much desktop real estate those Wacom tablets take up. Is a tablet a permanent fixture or a temporary one you use occasionally? Assuming they're not someone who gave up mice altogether and who therefore rely on a pen and tablet for every computer operation, you'll have to dick around moving things about, plugging it in, realizing they forgot to recharge it every time they want to edit some photos. It's an extra layer of faff that
I've never heard I don't think I've ever heard the word faff. I don't know what that means.
everyone could do without. There's just
Okay, hang on. So we're gonna go back to this, which is really, he's talking about the real estate. Okay, and this is a good point. This is actually worthy of a little bit of, hang on a second, I'm gonna turn off the sound effects so it's not turning on and off all the time when I'm talking. It is obviously a drawing tablet takes up real estate. Well, so will your mouse pad, okay? So there's a couple of dimensions here I just want to point out. Number one, how can I say this? Number one would be the following. There are different sizes of tablets. Now, I for a long time have said if you're really using it like a mouse, you don't need it. First of all, I do not recommend getting a large tablet for most people unless you have experience with one. Number two, I recommend medium-sized tablets. Like that's basically 10 to 11 inches diagonal for the active area. But if you're doing photo editing, or even you're using it as a mouse replacement, I think a small tablet would be, I don't know, 6 inches diagonally. Okay, and that's a big reduction in size. A small tablet doesn't take up much size. Number two, tablets without buttons take up even less size. Okay. And there are some really tiny tablets. I don't recommend using them for other reasons, but you can definitely find a tablet which doesn't take up a lot of real estate. Number three, Wacom Intuos Pro tablets have gotten smaller over the years. Actually, I should clarify that. The active area of the 2025 edition Intuos Pros are bigger than the old ones, but because they removed the bezels and shrunk those, they're actually physically smaller. So they fit better on desks than they ever have. Yes, they still occupy space, but that's okay. Number 3 or 4. You can use your Wacom tablet like a mouse pad. That's what I did all the time. Sometimes I'd have to use a mouse. I would actually just put my mouse on the tablet. I mean, the mouse doesn't know. It's not affected by the Wacom. Or at least it typically is not. Or at least I didn't find that with the mouse I used, which is a wired mouse. I just drew on top of the tablet and didn't scratch it up either. So I don't think it's necessarily like the end of everything if there's extra desk space that's used. I think it's not a super big deal. It can be irritating, right? Let's see, Amir says, using a glass mouse pad eliminates the mouse overshooting. Okay, because different friction. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. I'm always using a wooden desk, and I don't use a mouse pad, so maybe I experience it a bit more. It never hurts to buy Gammon S620. Oh, man, I remember I did order one on Amazon, but they canceled it, so I'll have to try again. Okay, let's get back to this guy.
Is a tablet a permanent fixture or a temporary one you use occasionally? Assuming they're not someone who gave up mice altogether and who therefore rely on a pen and tablet for every computer operation, you'll have to dick around moving things about, plugging it in, realizing they forgot to recharge it every time they want to edit some photos. It's an extra layer of faff that everyone could do without. There's a strong case to be made for the cost, inconvenience, and redundant nature of using a tablet. But what I think actually happened is that the software got so good, they became irrelevant. Over the last 5 years, masking, both AI and otherwise, has gone from strength to strength. And even the most humble photo editor can now create selections that would have been difficult or impossible in the past. Instead of painstakingly painting in a selection of a person using a pen and tablet, you can simply press the Select Subject button and save yourself several hours of dicking about. One of the few remaining use cases for using a pen and tablet would be for something like dodging and burning, which can be...
By the way, I agree with this statement. These new tools, especially the AI-driven ones, they've just gotten a lot better at selections. So, look, it was painful to do selections with a mouse or a pen. It's not as if having a drawing tablet suddenly made doing these weird selections like that, that much easier. It did improve it, I think. But it was always a nightmare. Let's be honest. Anything complex was a nightmare. Because the boundaries between what you want and the background are literally fuzzy. And so there are mistakes, right? So AI and other sort of image processing, I guess, has made that simpler. And yeah, there's less need for a pen for that. But there's less need for a mouse as well. But you definitely don't need a pen as much. If that was what you wanted, you don't need it now. The tools are just much better.
A quite painterly technique. But with submask functionality and mask feathering, You can contain a dodge or burn brushstroke within whatever margins you prefer. And the increasing sophistication and accuracy of AI masking means everyone can make complex selections with fine control automatically in seconds. RIP tablets.
I wouldn't say RIP tablets. Let's see. Hey, Saul, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it, man. Have a great day. RIP tablets? Come on.
I do have one small.
I'm not gonna say I approve of RIT tablets rule. Should everyone get one? I wouldn't say that, but I wouldn't say it's. Maybe for photography you don't need one, but I wouldn't say RIP tablets. Where did all the tablets go? The case for using a tablet. Oh, I gotta see this.
Confession to make. And that's that. I happen to own a Wacom Intuos Pro tablet and pen.
Okay, which one does he have? This looks, just from the size of it. So this is a 2017 model. I can just tell from the body, and probably a medium size based on his hand.
It came to me via the long-suffering wife, a graphic designer, who bought it in July 2020 for 488 Australian dollars, thinking it would make her life easier in Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. Turned out that she bloody hated it. And a couple of months later, she unceremoniously dumped it on my desk and said, well, you try using the bloody thing then. And that's what.
Look, lots of people end up hating a pen tablet. Let's just keep in mind, she may not have known about force proportions, okay, which is a huge reason people don't like using pen tablets. And not everyone knows that, okay? Some people they immediately have a problem with it.
Why, during the bog roll shortages 6 years ago, I ended up.
I don't know what this statement he makes, bog roll shortages. Bog roll? I don't know what a bog roll is.
Trying to edit my photographs with a tablet before rapidly coming to the same conclusion as the missus. It now sits forlornly on the end of my desk, seeing less action than my copy of On One Photo Raw. But I am prepared to admit there are some solid use cases for using a tablet and pen instead of a mouse. One of my friends uses one because he has chronic RSI, and after trying trackballs, vertical mice, trackpads, acupuncture, and swearing, discovered that holding a pen made the RSI go away. Health exceptions aside, tablets are.
Okay, I do want to talk about this. This is important. I just want to say one thing, or stress one thing. Issues like RSI and any kind of discomfort you have, they're not. It is not the case that a pen magically makes those go away, and it is not the case that having a pen prevents you from feeling discomfort or pain or RSI. Okay, and I know that because even with a pen, if I'm drawing for a lot, I'll end up with a little bit of wrist pain, and I sometimes have to stop drawing. I think it's worth investigating, okay, to try using a pen if it helps you. It may be the case that it changes how much time you can use the device. Like, how do I understand this? Let's suppose with a mouse, within an hour, you'll start feeling pain. It could be the case with a pen, you'll never feel any pain. It could also be the case with a pen, instead of an hour, the discomfort starts at 3 or 4 hours. So it's still a benefit, but it doesn't necessarily mean the pen solved the problem completely. It's worth investigating, and you don't need to investigate an expensive tablet. You can just try it out with a very cheap tablet. Let's see, Mad Max. It is not that difficult to use alone. Some people have difficulty, I would say, especially with a pen tablet. Some people never adjust to a pen tablet, but overall, I think people do adjust very well. I really do think overall they do. Okay, let's get here.
Also useful tools for retouchers, professional artists who work on high-quality images shot by professional photographers, and who can fly around an image at light speed, fixing blemishes, painting in blusher, and seamlessly blending complex composite elements together. For my part, I can honestly state that the most useful thing I ever accomplished with it was creating an accurate digital version of my signature. And that's what we'll do is for
That's a
this
good
little
use
look at the
case.
life and times of the Wacom tablet for photographers. Did you get into the tablet trend and splash some cash on one? Is it still in use or lingering on Facebook Marketplace 5 years later? Let me know in the comments section below. If you got value from this video, please consider giving it a like. And do consider subscribing for more photo, video, and drone-related content from me. And
Well,
if you'd like to support independent sponsor-free...
I did like the video. I think it was actually a really good video. And I'm going to give it a like. Okay? Let's see. Oh, Mir says, Osu taught me how to use a pen tablet. Yeah, lots of people find that Osu does help, trains their hand and their brain to like adjust to a tablet. So I really liked this video. I thought it was really interesting. And many of the points I agree with, actually. I do think it just needs a little more clarification in some areas because, again, like with the RSI topic, it's not a black or white issue. It has a little bit of nuance to it that I just wanted to explain. The second thing is, let me just go down sort of like some of the key points. You don't need, number one, you don't need to get, actually, let me change my teleprompter here for a second. Okay, there we go. So let me move things out of the way, and then let's get my, yeah, here we go. Okay, so a couple of things stand out to me. Number one, you don't need to get out in Intuos Pro to do photo editing. That is a really extreme thing to buy. That would be like buying, if all you do is you take a 5-minute drive to the supermarket once a week, you don't need a Bentley for that. Okay, you don't need that. There you can get a Honda Civic for that purpose, or a Toyota Corolla or something. You don't need something that fancy. So there's a mismatch there. The choice really isn't Intuos Pro for drawing tablets versus not having a drawing tablet. You don't need Intuos Pro for this task, right? Now, why everyone went Intuos Pro, that doesn't surprise me because, well, Intuos Pro and Wacom are just like the brands, right? The most popular brand out there. So that part didn't surprise me. Just one question for the audience. Does the image look too saturated to you? So if it looks like I'm too red, let me know. I think I dialed up the saturation, but I'm not sure I did the right thing. The second thing is, it is not that the drawing tablet is better than the mouse. They both are good at certain things, and you don't need them for certain tasks. Photo editing, yeah. I don't think you need an Intuos Pro for photo editing. You don't necessarily need to have a Wacom for photo editing. You don't need a large tablet for editing. You can do a small tablet. It can be very cheap, actually. And you don't need to use it all the time. There's nothing that says you have to use the tablet all the time. Sometimes certain things are very good for a tablet, and sometimes certain things are not. Now, let me tell you some cases where I switch myself. So surprisingly, while I'm using Clip Studio Paint, yes, I do use a drawing tablet. But when I'm drawing vectors, I do not. And it goes back to actually just hovering, right? I actually find for vector editing, it's easier to use a mouse. So I use a mouse for vector editing. For PowerPoint, which I'm just moving sort of shapes around, I just use my mouse. I mean, I will sort of switch between a tablet and a mouse, but most of the time, it's the mouse. I use the tool that works the best, right? But for anything when I'm drawing strokes, right, I tend to use, of course, a tablet. Let's see, Lumiere, yeah, for photo editing, you can go with the cheapest pen. Yeah, exactly. The cheapest will work for photo editing. The worst thing you have is some diagonal. That's right. And I don't think if you're doing photo editing, like you're doing you're doing a dodge and burn with a big brush, a wobble of 1 pixel, you're not going to notice, or two. Like you will not notice with a subtle shading that that's happening. Okay, wobble is something that you notice when you're drawing really slow and you're drawing a line that has clearly delineated edges. If it's a, a, a textured brush or one that's like an airbrush, you will not be able to pick up especially if it's not super opaque. You won't be able to pick up any wobble. It's just not going to happen. Saturation looks good. Thank you, Samir. Thank you. Thank you. I guess I have my monitor saturation dialed up because it's really looking like I'm, made of bronze right now. So I use a pen for some things. I use a mouse for other things. So vector art, pens. Photo editing, I have to think back here. Because of what I'm doing, which I'm removing dust, I just use a mouse. I don't need to use a pen. Hanska 3D1 says, hey, what would be your recommendation between XP Pen Artist Pro 19 and Huion Canvas 22 Gen 3? I would go, this is me, I would go personally with the Canvas 22 Gen 3. I do like my pen displays a little bit larger. Now, if you said XP Pen Artist Pro 19 versus Huion Canvas Pro 19, that's harder. I would probably, so 19's at probably the smallest size I'm okay with. I would probably still go with the Huion for 2 reasons. The Huion has touch, and the touch doesn't work well on Mac, but that's pretty much true for everything. Because Mac, no fault of Huion's. I think I don't have the 19 XP Pen Artist Pro. XP Pen tablets tend, as a class of tablets, to have just a little more diagonal wobble. Again, you may not even notice that, okay? But I would probably lean a little bit more toward the Canvas 19. With one thing you got to know, the Canvas Pro 19, generally, that tablet is considered to have, the screen looks a little soft, not as crisp. XP Pen tablets tend not to have that softness problem. I haven't used the XP Pen 19. So they're to closer, I think you'd be fine with either one, actually. But I like the 22-inch size. That's, for me, if I want to draw big, I like that size. 19 does work fine. I have like a 19-inch portable monitor right in front of me, and it works great. And maybe I'll give 19-inch another try to see if it'll work for me. But yeah, I do think both are good, but I would lean toward the Canvas 22 Gen 3. And the pen is better on the Huions for the PW600 pens. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, you don't need to get a Wacom Intuos Pro. You need to get something cheap. It'll work totally fine, right? As for, does it really help for photography? I would say I agree with Andy. It probably doesn't help you that much with photography. But if the reason you're doing it is you just don't want to use a mouse, that's great. If you're just trying to avoid a mouse for ergonomic reasons, RSI, or who knows what other reason, they work fine for that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And it's totally valid to buy a tablet just for one thing. It's totally valid. Delta Shire Fredo, what about the Cintiq 16 2025? I love it. I love it. It's a great tablet. I have no problems with it. I think it's a fantastic value. And I think it and the Cintiq 24 from 2025 are great choices. I think they're, in some sense, the most competitive pen displays on the market because they still give you the Wacom quality at a, not quite as inexpensive as a Huion or XP Pen, but getting there, right? As I often say, those two Cintiqs transform the question from why should I get a Wacom to why not? Because the price isn't that different, right? Okay, I'm going to take a quick bio break. I'll be right back in just a minute, and we'll continue our discussion. Okay, I am back. Let's see. We have some comments here. Kouga says the 19-inch 4K, if I remember correctly. Do you notice the 4K though when drawing? Okay, let's try to bracket this. This is actually interesting. I think. Okay, we'll start at 13 for a second. At 13 inches HD, so 1080p, is fine. At 13 inches, what do you call WQHD? 2560 by 1440. It's probably fine. It's getting toward a little tight. The pixels are a little small. So some computers, it may be difficult to deal with the small text and icons. You can scale the UI, but it starts to feel maybe a little excessive, right? At 2.5K at 13 inches. 1080 is actually good for 13 inches. It's actually fine. Some people will prefer 2.5K. At 16 inches, 1080p is okay. It's not quite as okay as 13. You start to appreciate 2.5K. And then 4K starts to feel excessive, like really excessive. Also remember with these, when you get 4K at 16 inches, you increase the probability of anti-glare sparkle. That's enough. So you start entering a risk with these really high pixel densities. Then we're at 19 inches. At 19 inches, definitely, which I don't know of any, actually, no, I have a 19-inch portable monitor here, which is at 1080. It looks fine. For a monitor, I wouldn't want to draw on it. Okay, so we're now at 19 inches, you're out of the 1080 space. 2.5K probably looks pretty good at 19 inches. 4K looks good, but also I think you probably don't need it. Okay? It's just on the verge of being excessive, I think, even at 19 inches. Okay? At 22 inches, a 1080 screen is going to look super pixelated. At 22 inches, a 2.5K looks pretty good, actually. If you're super sensitive to pixelation, like you really want it, meaning you want really fine resolution, then you might be a little irritated at 2.5K at 22 inches. 4K looks fine at 22 inches also. Okay? I think that's the first time 22 inches where 4K makes, okay, you would get it and you wouldn't be bad in any way, right? It wouldn't be bad. It's totally good at 22 inches, having a 4K resolution. 2.5K works great though. So getting back to the question here, which is, so the Kouga's question was at the 19-inch, the Huion is, I forgot what the artist one is. So I think 4K, if you're sensitive to resolution, you might notice there's, I could believe you'll notice there's going to be pixelation or less pixelation at 4K. I don't think everyone will notice. And does it really affect drawing? No, it doesn't affect drawing. Okay. So 4K is fine at 19 inches, but I don't think you need it. I don't know of any pen displays actually that are 2.5K at 19 inches. So I'm using my knowledge of a portable monitor here, which is 19 inches at 2.5K. I think you will notice that the icons of things are smaller, so you may have to scale up your UI. Plazing says, speaking of tablet stuff, I'm kind of wondering, where's my music? I'm kind of wondering why the 16-inch version of XP Pen Artist Gen 3 have lower value tier than the 12-inch version. Sorry, Plazing, when you say lower value tier than the 12-inch version, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Are you saying that it's not as good a deal? It doesn't offer as much value as the 12-inch one? Could you maybe clarify? I'm going to go for the, Mir says, I'm going to go for the 22 Gen 3 if I project. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic value. Look, it is a good tablet. It is a really good tablet. Hanska says, I don't need 4K and anything less than 27 inch, as 1440p looks good for most people. I prefer 1440p on 19 inches, but I don't think that exists. Yeah, I've only seen it on a portable monitor. I would say I do run into people who, so at 27 inches, you got to have 4K. I think you would definitely be irritated at 27 inches with a 1440. Or at least lots of people would. At 24 inches, I think it's probably true as well. I have a 24 inch. I have several that are 4K and several that are 1440. Definitely people I talk to are split. Some people are like, too pixelated even then. And some people are like, no, it's fine. So it's a percentages game, right? And you have to know where you're going to stand on it. The best way to figure this out is to go find a display which has that resolution. Or you can find a display which has the same pitch, meaning the pixel density. And see what you think about it. Hey Nem, hey, good to see you. 16:3 ranks lower than 12:3, mostly because Artist 16:3 is 1080p. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But Canvas 16 Gen 3 exists at a similar price point and has 2.5. Yeah, okay. Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot about that. That was a weird decision. I thought, though surprisingly, I am okay with a 16-inch pen display at 1080. I really am. It doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I work totally fine with it. Let's see. One Up Croker, hey, good to see you. XP Pen Artist Pro 22 Gen 2 is on sale at Best Buy in Canada for $645. Actually, let's do a little bit of translation. Let's see what that is. $645. 35 Canadian to US. $457 US. That is good. That is actually a very good price for a 22-inch. Listen, for some reason, I don't know what it is, these 22-inch pen displays are like just added. They're so much better priced than the tablets, meaning in terms of value, than the ones that are smaller and the ones that are larger. It's this weird sweet spot where everyone is producing these amazing tablets of 22 inches and no one realizes it, right? 22 inches is actually a relatively big monitor too. It's not tiny. So I think it's such a sweet spot, you should consider those instead of a 24 inch actually. Huion 22 Gen 3 is 2.5K, yeah. I'm hoping Huion does a 22, they probably will not do it, but I'm just saying, hoping they do a Huion, a Canvas Pro 22. But I think that would eat into their 24 Pro. I think Huion Canvas 22 Gen 3 is better. Yeah, I think it is better. I think it's a fantastic choice. And how much is the Huion Canvas 22 Gen 3? On the Huion store, it's $600. I think it's a fantastic price. Fantastic price. For me, so Koga says 22 is awesome, 24 inch is a little too big size. So that, I don't know what it is, but at 24 inches, for me, a tablet suddenly becomes gigantic. 22 is like large, but not irritatingly large, right? Like I don't feel like it's this monster taking up space in front of me. 24 feels that way. And keep in mind, unlike a normal monitor, these pen displays have a bigger bezel. And XP Pen has right now XP Pen has the biggest bezels for a pen display. Their XP Pen Artist Pro 24 Gen 2 is as big as like a 27-inch display because of these enormous bezels, which is deliberate because some people love big bezels. And I can't deny these other brothers. What's the lyric? Some people like big bezels, and I can't lie. These other brothers can't deny. Everyone knows the song I'm referring to, right? Only Wacom did. Yeah, Wacom, the Cintiq 32. I've always wanted to try one, but I haven't seen, I've never seen one like in real life. I've only seen like some. I've only had experience directly with a 27-inch. I wouldn't recommend getting a 32. I really would not. If you're like a serious, if you have a background in drawing big and you have a desk you can dedicate to 32-inch, then do it. You know who has a 32-inch Cintiq? Terry Crews. Terry Crews, the actor. 27 was the largest for Huion, at least what was available in their store. Yeah, I don't think people should be producing 32-inch tablets. Actually, let me double check Terry Crews on this one. Terry Crews, Wacom. What a search. Here we go. Terry Crews is a big man too. Actually, let me. So the tablet looks small. I think he's like 6'2" or 6'3", so he's a big guy. Hang on a second, let's show you this. Face left. There we go. I gotta be careful because if music starts playing, it'll mess it up. But okay, so I love Terry Crews. He's so funny. But he was, I think, a professional illustrator, right? And you can see there's a Cintiq 32, and that thing is monstrously large. Monstrously large. Let's see. Mir says 19 inch is perfect for me. The softness of the Canvas 19 makes me hesitate to buy it. I think I'll buy it then once they fix it the next generation. Yeah. That is the one problem. Some people don't like the softness. I'm not bothered by it, but some people do not like it. Hanska says, is a 22-inch size still ideal if you want to jump between drawing on screen and occasionally using it as an Intuos? Maybe 19. Yeah, okay. Fantastic question. So, I have used pen tablets that size, right? Screenless tablets. 22 inches is big for a pen tablet, screenless tablet. I think if you wanted to switch, like use it like a pen tablet, it's too big for that. It is really too big for that. 19 would work much better in that way. Much better for using it like an Intuos. So yeah, I think 22 inches would be not ideal switching between modes like that. Also, yeah, you said the second point you raised, Hanska, is maybe 19 inches is better for that purpose, depending on the desk size. So another good thing with the 19 is it's pretty easy to move away from you to clear up space. 22 inches, like, you will have to use both hands and maybe even stand up and move it out of the way, right? Certainly for a 24 you will. But a 22 inch is heavy enough that it would feel uncomfortable to move with one hand. 19, you can just move it with one hand and slide it away. So that's another reason why 19 is, and you can pick it up with one hand. At least I can, because I'm super strong. No, it's not that heavy at all. But the point is, there's an element to that sort of portability because you can just arrange it differently on your desk. And that is something kind of valuable. Hainham says, Terry Crews is crazy talented. I'm going to try to find a picture of Terry Crews drawing something. He is a legit artist. He's like, I draw frogs in meme format, but no, he is like traditionally trained. Terry Crews drawing. I think you'll be surprised. It's a bunch of people drawing Terry Crews. I want a Terry Crews drawing something. Let's see. Okay, here's an example. This is Terry Crews' Instagram, where he shows some artwork he did. Okay, and we're gonna. This guy is so talented and funny. Terry Crews in 1995. This is all done by hand. No computers, no shortcuts, just time, patience, and trust in the process. This is a painting Terry Crews, did of Juwan Howard. I don't know who that is. Back when Washington was still called the Bullets. Same technique I used on Ken Harvey's lithograph I shared recently. If you look close, you can see my signature in the bottom right, somewhere here, I guess. Think about it. This is paint. This is Terry Crews. Let's see if we can find more from this guy. I'm not on Instagram. Let's see if we can find more Terry Crews artwork. Terry Crews artwork. This is a close-up, I guess, of that. Or try to find another one. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Look at this. This is a. I think this is a painting. I don't even think that's digital, right? So you're dealing with just a really talented human being, right? Oh, look at this. Painting. So there's a teammate of his. Painting my teammates after I was cut from teams was how I survived lean time during my time in the NFL. Okay, this is a painting. This painting I did in 1996. Wow. It's just amazing, right? Like, if you saw this today, you would 100% be sure. You would say, oh, this was AI, or you'd say this was Photoshop, right? Would you have guessed this was painted pre-computer? Let's find some more. I love this guy. Let's see, NBC Network. Let's see if we can find anything more. It doesn't. Here's another one. Painting. So there we go. Really talented guy. And he played a great role in a movie called Idiocracy of the President of the United States, Hector Macho Elizondo Macho Camacho. President Camacho. Yeah, I know, it looks digital, doesn't it? Oh, while we're at this, since we were talking about art, there's actually a couple of things I wanted to show you about artists. Again, this is all pre-digital, by the way. So, it's actually in my show notes. Let me find it here. Hang on. Show notes, where are they? You know, I like sci-fi, I like art, I like illustrate, I like all this stuff. And there was a video called, oh, where is it? Hang on. I hope I can find it here.
Cast your mind.
Let's see, and let me turn off the system audio. Let's see, sci-fi art boss. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is a channel called Sci-Fi Art. Okay. And they have just videos on different sci-fi artists, which I love sci-fi art. And this one came out 3 days ago. Okay. This is 70s sci-fi legend Chris Foss, the art that defined an era. And I just want to bring this up. I'm going to turn off the audio because YouTube will, of course, freak out. Oops, let me turn it off a little bit more. The art of Chris Foss. And I didn't know his name until recently, but look at this design here. You know what I love about this? And this was concept art for Jodorowsky's Dune in 1975. You just don't see designs like this. Right? And in his Chris Foss, lots of color and lots of like stripes and vivid color. I mean, you just don't see designs like this. Right? Would someone literally paint a spaceship this way? I don't know. But I just thought it was beautiful. I just want to share a few of these examples here. Here's another one. You'll just know this guy's art if you see it enough. You'll just like, oh, this is Chris Foss. I knew about this guy for years, but I didn't know his name. Look at that. I love these older book covers. Just the era and how they showed things. Look at this. Strong geometry with this one. I mean, just with all its art, right? I didn't realize there's all this concept art for Alien either. You like it, Pleasing? You think it looks good? These are just not the sci-fi we see today. You understand? Like his shapes are they're like geometric and technical, but also organic in some way. They're just not like anything you see. Name for me any modern sci-fi movie or TV series that has ship concepts like this. I'm not saying you can't find one, but I don't think you will. I don't think people just do this. I'll skip ahead a little bit. Bold color, right? You can see he loves putting these geometric, like painted rectangles and things and stripes. This is classic. You just don't see anything like this style. I've always wanted a game that used artwork inspired by this, right? A distinct vision of technology in the future and sci-fi. Let's find some more ships. Oh, I love this. Yeah, so check it out. Chris Voss, and let's just find out a little bit more about Chris Voss here. This was, he may have, is he still active? Chris Voss, 1946. So he's born right after World War II. And he's still alive. Right? And here's just other examples of his art. Oh, what is this? Painter Glenn Brown controversially appropriated individual space scenes by Chris Voss, and in one case, copying and altering it. I gotta take a look at this. Glenn Brown. This is pre-AI training, if you want to call it that. Exercise 1 for Ian Curtis. Exercise. Ian Curtis was the lead singer of a band. He died a long time ago. 1 for Ian Curtis. Let's take a look at this. So apparently, he kind of copied this from Chris Voss. I mean, this looks good. I do like this. Didn't know that. Okay, let's see. Sid Mead did the mechanical design for one of the Gundam shows. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. People don't know about Sid Mead, so let's take a look at Sid Mead. I probably on that same channel I was just showing you. It will show you. Let's see. Go back to sci-fi art. Let me paste the link in chat too. Yeah, Sid Mead is super classic. Let's search here for Sid, S-Y-D. Tony Roberts. Oh, it does not have it. Sid Mead. Yeah, this stuff inspired me so much. Tron, you can tell. Let's take a look here. I'm just going to skip ahead. Oh, I love that one. Concept art for Ford, it looks like. Love this. When I was young, I'd see these pictures of things, these paintings, of things like this and space stations. I just thought we would live in that kind of future. I mean, this is like I'm talking about the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, I thought this is how the life was going to be in the 2000s. Oh, I didn't know he did this poster. I'll skip ahead. He was in, this is a Babylon 5 ship, I believe. Oh no, that's a Star Trek, my mistake. V'ger. Ah, this is classic. I saw this when I was a young child. And this is what I meant when I thought we'd live in space station. This is a space station, like the Ring. And I just loved this utopian vision of like, you know, humans being in space and like farming. And I thought it was all about to happen. I'm trying to find some more pictures of this guy. What he built. Sid Mead. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Hey man, Sid Mead is just amazing. Star Trek: The Motion Picture, Blade Runner, Tron, Short. Oh, I didn't know he did Short Circuit. Time Cop. I love Time Cop. Huge fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. JCVD. Johnny Mnemonic. I need to watch that still. Elysium. I liked. Blade Runner 2049. Oh, I missed Tomorrowland. I need to watch that. Okay, let's see if I have anything else I wanted to show. Actually, I will show one more thing. I saw this post on our Wacom, and by user Virtual Fetish, bizarre scribbles on a Wacom 1. Let's take a look and see if we can learn something here. So, it's weird little curly shapes, and you're going to see multiple pictures here. When it's on, you don't see them. That was what he showed us. So, I think this person's probably right. These two people. I kind of believe it's a bug. I mean, literal insect. It happens. I've never been able. So, we'll have to see. I don't know I don't think this would be drawn by a human, because it's too irregular, actually. Yeah, it looks like it's weird looking, right? It's definitely organic, but it goes from thin to thick. So why would a bug do that? Maybe multiple bugs are involved here. How would a bug get inside a tablet underneath the glass? I mean, some of these things don't have a, what do you call it? They're not laminated, so there should be an air gap. But still, what is causing the dark streaks? Like, what are they rubbing on or off the glass that's causing this? Unclear. Could it be something? In these displays, there are two polarizing films. Could it be something in the polarizing film? Maybe. But I think it is a bug. It's erratic movements. But there's some features here I don't understand. Why are some trails thicker than others? This trail seems to end in the middle of the screen, but we don't see it. You'd expect the bug to turn around, or I guess it could back out of the. It's unclear what's causing this. But I would leave. Yeah, it's alive. Koga says. Hanska says, "What's your prediction on display innovation focus in the coming years? OLED, less sparkle, less blur, higher refresh rates, more reasonable prices." Okay, yeah, there's a couple here. Glad you asked. There's actually some things we want to talk about. Number one, I do think we're going to see OLEDs. Okay. There could be two reasons for that. Number one, OLEDs are the new hotness. Okay. And I think people are getting confidence in the longevity of OLEDs. So we're going to start seeing pen display manufacturers want to push that direction. Number two, it's not like there are special displays made for pen tablets. They're just using what is produced, for everyone else. So if display manufacturers, panel manufacturers, I think Samsung is one. I think does LG make their own panels as well? If they start pushing OLED, then everyone's just going to follow. So that absolutely could happen. I do expect it. I'm not sure it's going to happen I don't know if it's going to happen in 1 or 2 or 3 years, maybe not even in 5, but in 10 years, I could totally see OLED is the way. Number two, less sparkle. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's absolutely going to happen. It may, I haven't checked, but I wonder, will OLED cause less sparkle? I don't know. Less blur, absolutely. Absolutely. Higher refresh rates, absolutely. And again, I think it's because people will more panels can be coming out at higher refresh rates. Reasonable prices is tough to say. There are some pen tech innovations coming out. So we saw, I don't know, for those of you who are in my Discord, can you remind me? Someone posted a link to, I think, Wacom's yearly financial report or something like that, where they talked about a new technology. Now get this is a wild one. You know, some tablets use capacitive technology for touch, and they use it also for pens. So an example of that is iPad, actually. The Apple Pencil, that screen is actually a capacitive screen that they made a special pen to work with that. Microsoft Surface Pens are also capacitive in that sense. AES is capacitive, active electrostatic. And then we have EMR tablets, right? Which is, I think, they work better for drawing. But these two things aren't cross-compatible. An EMR pen will not work with a capacitive screen, and a capacitive pen won't work with an EMR tablet. Just, they don't cross. Well, Wacom seems to be working on a new, I forgot what the title is, but it's a hybrid. It's a layer in the screen that supports, get this, both capacitive and EMR, which raises they said this in the document, which raises the intriguing possibility that you can use a cheap capacitive pen and have touch and use a professional pen. Now, in that document that Wacom published, they said they are working with partners to bring this to market. Now, we don't know who those partners are, but that would be pretty amazing, right? For a couple of reasons. Number one, maybe it gives us good touch. Okay? Maybe it gives us the best of both worlds, great touch and great pen performance. Maybe it gives us the opportunity to have an emergency backup capacitive pen if your $130 Pro Pen 3 breaks. So I think there's a lot of promise there. From the business side, it's also maybe something that's patented by Wacom, and it may not be something that Huion XP Pen would be able to deliver, until the patent wears out. So, quite intrigued by that. That doesn't mean we know it's going to be a Wacom branded product or a Samsung branded product. We don't know yet, but we expect that to be coming soon. Okay. But that's the big pen tech innovation. I think another thing you might see is, so right now, really barrel rotation is only two companies do it, Wacom and Apple. I think we will see barrel rotation in Huion and XP Pen. I would not be surprised if that's the case. Again, timeline is unclear, but I do expect that to happen. So those are the things I'm predicting. Again, the timeline is fuzzy. Kauga says, I would still prefer IPS though. OLED dead pixels are a huge deal. Does OLED, I haven't seen any OLED dead pixels, so people have to tell me, is that something common for OLED? Because I haven't noticed it. I have only a couple of OLED screens, and I've never, so actually, I should back up. I have the Movink 13, which is OLED. I have a couple of Samsungs, which are OLED. I haven't noticed any problems with dead pixels. So let me know if that's a prevalent. I've not seen people say that. The biggest thing I hear about OLEDs is maybe the colors will get weird after some time. But I haven't seen that either. But I'm not a heavy OLED user. So yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a look at any other topics I wanted to cover. No, I think that's it. It was a good video we watched from Andy Hutchinson. I really liked it. And it raises some good points. It really raises some good points. I will try to summarize it and then maybe do a special pre-record video that explains some thoughts about it. So I think it is intriguing. And it's always good to get a different perspective about something that you spend a lot of time working on. So I was very happy that it popped up in my feed this morning. If you could design your own dream pen display, what would its specs be? Okay, great question. So let's pretend for a second I'm talking about two sizes, okay? So I would probably say my dream pen display would be a combo of two pen displays, a 19 and a 22 inch, right? 19 for sort of more portability. They would also be much thinner than pen displays today. I don't know why pen displays are so thick, but the Movink is not. The Movink is as thin as, as that pen tab, like it's only like, I don't know, 8 millimeters. What keeps pen displays really thick? I'm not saying they need to be 8 millimeters, but they are much thicker than a monitor needs to be. So I want them thin and light, okay? Not because they're necessarily portable, but I just want to be able to move them on my desk easier, honestly. Number 3. I'm okay if it's not OLED. I'm not totally obsessed with the idea of going OLED. So it's okay if there's still IPS. I do think, though, I'm starting to appreciate high refresh rates. So what I would like is that it supports up to 120 hertz refresh rate. Okay? Some people like it thick. Indeed they do, Hayden. Indeed they do. Number 5. It would support multiple ways of getting a video signal. Wacom and Cintiq Pros are really good at this because they support video signal through USB-C and HDMI and DisplayPort, which is fantastic. Because it just basically means that you have a bunch of options for any computer you're going to run into. That's fantastic. And you need less cable adapters. That's great. Number 4. Number 6, I think. I'm on number 6 now. Number 6, all Pro pen tablets, so my Dream one, should come with 2 pens. They should, ideally, they'd both be the same model or the same Pro designation, but it's okay if one of them is an emergency backup pen. I think all tablets should come with 2 pens. It's number 7 right now. Number 7, they should all support touch. Okay? Now, we hear rumors that Windows supports touch well, so these touch tablets work well with Windows. Mac OS not so well, but Mac OS apparently is going to support touch soon. Very excited about that because hopefully it means we can start using good touch features with our pen displays. Hopefully. But yeah, I think touch is going to be important. I think it's going to be important. Number, what am I, 7 or I think I'm at 8 right now. 8. My ideal pen display would be, now you'll see why I said 2 sizes. My ideal pen display would technically not be a pen display. My ideal pen display would actually be a standalone pen computer. So it would think of a Cintiq that you would plug into your computer. It worked just like a Cintiq does, but it has a battery. And if you disconnected it, you could still draw with it. And it would like boot up on Android, and you could actually just draw with Android. And it would sync to some Wacom, or let's say Wacom right now, Wacom cloud service. So when I plugged it back into my computer, Clip Studio Paint would like, here's all the things you drew while you were disconnected, right? Maybe Clip automatically just kind of works, right? Somehow. The reason I say the size is important here is like, I don't need that for a Cintiq 22-inch, but on a 16 or 19-inch, that would be kind of amazing, right? To have a real capable standalone drawing experience. So I think that may be a future we see. Number, 8 or 9 now? 8 or 9, I would say it has to really be 4K. It just has to be 4K. I think people just expect that, and there's no point not doing it. You may not find it interesting. Which part sounds interesting, Pleasing? I'm curious which part of what I said was interesting for you. So refresh, yeah, I think you gotta have 120 refresh rate. I don't think it needs to go up to like 240 for gamers, but I guess it could be interesting. Let's see, we did touch. Should they have buttons? I don't care about buttons. I think they just get in the way. Let me think. What else would my Dream tablet? My Dream tablet would have no fans. It would be completely silent. No fan, and it wouldn't get hot. It would just stay room temperature all the time, even at 100% brightness. The disconnected one, yeah. I think there's a real way. Listen, I think you want to transform what people buy, and it's not going to be cheap, but I think that may be the future. The standalone one, yeah, exactly. Let's see, number 10. I think they'll all have good texture surface without having an anti-glare sparkle. You gotta have that. They've got to nail that. Number 11. They can be charged from a power adapter and from USB-C. You could both options are available. That's very important. Number 12. Weird as it sounds, I think they gotta have a speaker. Okay? That's more for the portable case. Number 13. This is for the 22-inch one. It should effectively act like a USB hub, so that if I have the monitor in front of me, I could attach a mouse to it and a keyboard even, so I don't have to connect wires all the way back to my computer. Hanska, what if you could levitate to any angle so you don't need a stand? Well, okay, sure. If you could levitate, that would be... It's got levitate, but not... no wobble. No. Okay, so just in general, no wobble. Okay, number 14. It's got to be VESA mountable. Okay? And the stand it's mounting to depends how much wobble. It controls the wobble. Number 15. It's got to support all those crazy color modes everyone cares about. Okay? Number 16. It's got to support sRGB mode without dimming the brightness. That's actually a problem with some displays. I think I'm at 18 now. Number 18. I'm running out of things now that my ideal pen tablet should have. Yeah, I think I covered all the things that would be my ideals. James says, is it possible pen displays are so thick due to the structural strength needed to support constant pressure manipulation? I think that's part of it. I do think that's part of it. I think they need to be a certain thickness just to avoid flexing, okay? And, breaking the panel. And especially to get bigger, they have to support it better. Now, I think there's room for improvement because there's lots... So there's a 19-inch portable monitor here, right? And it's basically much thinner than my Canvas Pro 19, right? It's got a thicker section and a thinner section. I do think there's room. The other reason I think they're thicker is that they have to have all these ports, like a full-size HDMI, a full-size DisplayPort. That requires some space, okay? And they have to have, at least one USB port and a power. So you start getting a lot of space needed on the body for cabling, right? On top of it, VESA mounting increases the width because the VESA screws go into the tablet and the screws are longer than 8 millimeters, right? They're at least, I think, 10 millimeters or 12 or something. So your tablet at least has to have that much clearance for the mounting, okay? So that's another reason I think they have to be a little thicker. I'm not super complaining about the thickness of the Canvas Pro 19, but if you start looking at these Cintiqs and things, they're like substantial. But I think we can get thinner. They don't have to be ultra thin, just a little thinner would be helpful. Or maybe, how about this? They don't need to be as thin as they need to be not as heavy. They are getting super heavy. Maybe OLEDs bring down that weight a bit. We'll see. But yeah, I think those 17 or 18 things cover my ideal tablet. Oh, and all that's got to be a reasonable cost. What would a pen display like that cost? Now it would be like $4,000. In the future, a tablet like that should be $2,000 at the most. $2,000 at the most. And I think someone will give it to us. We'll get it one day. I do believe that. Everything I said was within reason. There's nothing I said which is, oh, we don't have the technology. Everything I said is buildable with current technology. Okay? They just got to put it together. That's it. Even the part about it being a standalone. Because the XP Pen, what is it called? Magic Drawing Pad 2025 edition is like that. You can use it like a pen display or like a monitor, or you can use it as a standalone. That's fantastic. That's the way it should be, right? So yeah, that's my ideal pen display. Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I didn't mean to go on a long stream. We've been going for 2 hours now. This is just like a fun thing to do in the morning. It's already 10 a.m. for me. I will stream again, probably later this. Oh, Hanem has a comment. My dream tablet would be another Mobile Studio Pro with a side. Oh yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I think that would be. So I assume that would mean like a Windows, running Windows. Oh, actually, sorry. One more thing. If it's gonna be standalone, I am open to it. The OS being just Android. It doesn't have to be Windows, but we have to have the apps that work exactly the same with the desktop. Maybe we'll get that in a future version of Android. I don't know. Okay. In any case, everyone, thanks for your time. Super fun stream. Good to chat with you. And for those of you who please join the Discord. I'm going to paste the Discord link in a second, just in case people don't have it already. Discord. Please join the Discord. I never ask people to subscribe. I always say just join the Discord because that's where the real conversation happens, honestly. The Drawing Tablet Discord. Okay? And everyone, have a great day. I will see you all soon. I'll be streaming again probably later this week. Okay? Have a great day. Bye.